Hello and guten Tag. My name is Max. This is Make and Modify, and this is more of a small project, and this serves more as a documentation for the Printables project that is linked in the description. So recently my wife asked me if I could make her a small macro pad, and of course, so I did. This is nothing new. There are enough 3-button macro pads out there, but this is my version. It's fairly straightforward and easy. If you are interested in it, you might want to build it. And yeah, that is basically what the finished keyboard looks like, with USB-C, 3 buttons, fully programmable. This is programmed in CircuitPython. We will go to this later. The brains of the operation is a Waveshare RP2040-Zero. These can be had for, I don't know, $3 to $5, I think, depending on how many you buy. Yeah, let's have a look at the model. So the model mainly consists of the top and the bottom. These you will have to print. Then you need, of course, the microcontroller and some Cherry compatible keyboard switches. I used some old Holy Pandas I had, but you can also use Gateron or whatever you like, as long as it is Cherry compatible and it fits the cutout. Let me hide the switch, and yeah, the bottom is pretty easy to print. This overhang should be printable on most printers. If you have issues, just rotate it so it is facing the part cooling fan. Yeah, prints without supports. The screw holes, you can see they are quite big here. That is for the heads of the screws. The screws I designed it for are M3x6 millimeter. As you can see, they don't go through the whole body. But they have a 0.2 millimeter layer. That's a little trick to not need support material. That being said, you might want to print this with 0.2 millimeter layer height. And yeah, that's the bottom. And now the top housing, also pretty easy to print. Only thing to mention is this is designed for threaded inserts. I will also upload a top one with not 4 millimeter holes, but 2.8 or something like that. Then you can just screw your screws in there if you don't have threaded inserts. Yeah, and that's basically it. Next, let's talk about the wiring of our microcontroller and our switches. So this is the RP2040-Zero from Waveshare. The pins I will use are the pins 12, 11 and 10, and we also need the ground pin. And how are we gonna wire this up? This is basically the inside. You can see all pins here are connected. It does not really matter if you connect all of those or all of those. Just decide on one and stick with it. This will be our ground. So this wire is connected from here to here. This is the ground connection. And yeah, then the first button is gonna go to the pin 10, and then 11 and 12. So let me draw this in. So let's say this one is going here. Sorry, this is with a mouse. And this pin is going here. And finally, the last one is going here. And that's all the wiring. And the RP or the case is designed that the controller just clicks in. So there are some knobs here in the corner, and you will just need some gentle pressure to put it in, and here are some protrusions that make the board stick in place. Yeah, and that's the wiring. Easy enough. Yeah, let's go to the code part. So the first thing you will have to do is download the CircuitPython version for the Waveshare RP2040-Zero. I'll put a link in the project and in the description. If you have downloaded this file, you will have a UF2 file, and then you take your 0. One of the two buttons is labeled boot. You press this button, plug in to USB-C, and then you wait. And there it is, took a bit. Now we have a drive that is called something. Sometimes it has another name, but yeah. Okay, we just copy over our file that makes our microcontroller understand CircuitPython basically. And this project is made in CircuitPython because it's the easiest for beginners to do. Yeah, but now let's have a look at the code. So here we are in VS Code, and on the right there is my folder. The basic code is in Code, and there's a Boot.py, and you will also need the Adafruit hit library in your lib folder. All those files I will provide with the download, and just copy the Adafruit hit into the lib folder on your CircuitPython device, and the code and the Boot.py into the library. Let's first talk about the Boot.py. This is a bit of a boot magic thing, so I don't want the macro pad to always show as a drive basically, and for this I have here the storage disabled. Then it looks for the state of the first button, which is connected to GP10, and if it's pressed it will show as a boot drive. So if you copy over this boot.py file, it might be possible that it does not show up as a drive anymore. Only then if you press the button you have, let's just show it. So basically I connected, the computer recognizes it, but the drive doesn't show up. So now I push the button, connect it up, wait a bit, and there's my drive. Yeah, that is what is done in the, now it did not update, don't save. So this is basically what is handled here. If you don't want this functionality, just leave out the Boot.py, just don't copy it. The main code of the keyboard is running here. So here you see we have imported a bunch of libraries. Time, we need that for sleeps. Board, we need that for pins. Digital IOs, we need this to read the button pins basically. And we need all the hit stuff for keyboard and mouse actions. First thing I do is set up my pins as inputs with pull-ups. So basically they are high all the time, and if you push a button it is connected to ground and pulled to ground, and then the value changes from true to false. And then we are in the main loop basically. Here's an example on key 1 for what happens if you push it. It will do layout.write and say just hello world, for example. So if I do that here, for example, it writes hello world. Okay, there's still a bit more in there, so yeah, but yeah, that's it what this does. Then the second key is basically just an example on how to send a special key combination or a keystroke. In this case, it's keyboard left control and the key code V, so control V, so insert basically. And the third one, I have this line which makes the third button basically a toggle button. And while this toggle function is basically set, it will execute this, and there you have a mouse movement. So basically this is, you can use this if you don't want to your PC to lock, let's say. So I press the button and the mouse, as you can see, will move to the right and to the left and continue. Yeah, and that's already the code. And if I push the button again, it stops the movement. Yeah, and that's the code. Fairly straightforward project, really easy to do. If you never built a keyboard before, that might be something for you. Don't be afraid if you want just to say, for example, best regards Max, for example, then you would just say layout right, best regards, \n is a return, and then Max, for example, or your name. If you want something more advanced, like you need a combination where you need 3 buttons at the same time, then you can also do this. So let's just add, let's say, key code. If you do this in VS Code, it obviously is easier. If you have already installed the CircuitPython extension, it will suggest what key codes you have. So if I say, for example, left Alt and V, so now it would be Control Alt V. I don't know what this does, but yeah, that is possible. And you can also just add another line and add, I don't know, Control C or whatever. It's all up to your imagination. If you have a software that from time to time needs 3 button combinations and you can't remap this, that is an easy fix with this keyboard. And as we saw in the picture of the yeah, but that's it. Just a quick video. Hope you liked it. Maybe I will do another video one day. Until then, goodbye und auf Wiedersehen.